Did you know the average household with a credit card carries $8,398 in debt? My name is Jake, and I'll be giving my persuasive speech on credit cards. I believe you shouldn't own a credit card until you're at least in your 20s, or at least until you're in college. It's not a bad thing if you have one. I'm just saying with it comes a lot of responsibilities that you have to take for yourself. I grew up in a family that was very cheap. My mom never bought like name brand foods, and I always hated it. She'd buy off-brand Pop-Tarts, cereals, chips, and even soda. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate about your mom's probably doing the same thing. It wasn't that we were poor or homeless, it was just our parents being cheap and trying to save a buck or two. My parents raised me the same way, and they taught me how to conserve as much money as I possibly could. And that's just a little background about myself and my family and why I support my claim. I have 5 main reasons to back up my claim. Reason number 1 being the obvious, which is debt. The debt crisis in America is really bad. Millions of people are in debt because of credit cards, and I'm just thinking, why give your kid one just to add on to the money? It'll just keep adding and adding to your bills at the end of the month. And also, there's so many temptations out there for children, being the new phones like iPhones, new cars, electronics, and clothing apparel. Reason number 2 compares between credit cards and debit cards. They're both similar and they're both different in their own way. I think it could be a better idea to allow your up-and-coming adults to just use a debit card instead of a credit card. It teaches them how to handle their money, and since there's a limit on the debit cards, once they run out of money, then there's no more for them to have, and it makes the person more cautious of their spending. Reason number 3 talks about interest rates, and I wasn't very familiar with interest rates until I started researching it, but you can get charged with interest rates after you become more than 60 days past your payment, and also when a promotional rate expires or after you've completed a debt management plan, it'll also add interest rates, and it's just not worth having to deal with that when you're a kid or a college student. Reason number 4 is about card management. In college, you already have so much to deal with that being either tests to study for, homework to do, or if you're playing a sport, you just already have so much on your plate to deal with. And why hassle over a credit card when you have more important things to do in your life? That being said, with only having a debit card, it'd make it a lot easier on yourself. And I'm not the only one who also agrees with this. Dave Ramsey is a personal money management expert and extremely popular national radio host. And he has his own radio show where people go on and ask him about questions with their money and what they should do if they're in debt. He pretty much tells them what they need to do and what's best for their situation. His net worth is $55 million, so he probably knows what he's talking about. And he started off with nothing. Him and his family were very poor when he was growing up, and he never ever used a credit card in his life. And one thing he said on his talk show was personal finance is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge, and credit card companies know this, which is pretty much saying a person is like really, when you have a credit card, it's really easy to spend something rather than when you have a debit card, and credit card companies know this because they're trying to take your money pretty much. He used an example talking about the vending machines around the world. Now they have the card slide. So let's say you're just going to class here at Northwest and you didn't eat breakfast or you're thirsty and you see the vending machine and you see there's a card slide there. And it's more convenient for you to do that rather than pull out like a wrinkly dollar bill and try and put it in the machine. Dave Ramsey says it's now like an impulsive buy, an impulsive feeling, so it's just easier and quicker for them to spend money. Another person that you're probably very familiar with is Mark Cuban. He believes the same thing. He has a net worth of $4 billion, and he's also on Shark Tank. Another example, Jay Leno. He is a talk show host for the Late Night Show, I think it is, and he never used a credit card, and he's always used a debit card for his entire life. So in conclusion, with the many reasons I've talked about and the famous people that agree with credit cards, it's not a great idea for you to have one, especially if you're young, or even if you're in college. I mean, it's okay to have one, but it's just adding more pressure and things you don't need in your life onto you. So if you are in college, it just adds more, I don't know, things to do. But again, I'm not saying if you have one, it's a bad thing. But if you do, it's just a lot of responsibility and stuff like that. So thank you for your time. Thank you.